Thanks for tuning into the market drive. I'm Niraj with Nickey Mirchandani, and it was a quiet day of trade, you have to admit. So let's get straight to the nuts and bolts of what happened today. Actually, precious little happened, to be honest. But let's try and figure out what moved and what didn't. So the indices were flat, but I would say that maybe there was a late last half an hour, 45-minute slight uptick that came in, which took the indices to about a third of a percent. Not that the banks participated too much, but still we had that. But I think cement played a telling part in today's session. Some very strong moves there, large, mid, small, everything. No, let's just keep that screen on because you'll see that even on the Nifty gainers, Ultratech, Shree Cement, for example, very good moves there. Grasim had a 3% uptick. So on the index, cement stocks did their bit, autos did a little bit, and Bajaj Finance continuing to rise, scaling new highs. So that continues to rise and shine. But there were a few setbacks, including banks, which kind of stayed quiet today. Bank Nifty was up and about for the last 2 days. In today's session, Bank Nifty has stayed a bit quiet. Axis Bank was down about 1%, State Bank of India down about 1%. So there were a few, IndusInd Bank, of course, down about 1.5% too. So banks kind of negating any optimism, but it was a quiet session. Not that banks really cracked too much. The Bank Nifty ended the day very, very flat. Nickey, what stood out in the large cap space for you?
Yeah, I mean, cement name, of course, the focus clearly shifts, but then we don't have concrete reasons as to why the up move came in. What I rather have picked up is the fact that UPL was rather up and was one of the top gainer on the index today. The stock has been rallying for the last three consecutive sessions, and in today's trade itself, the stock rallied as much as 3.5%. The company has completed the prepayment of around $410 million of senior notes, which was supposed to be due on October 2021. It said that it's done all of that using the cash that it had on the balance sheet, and the move is in line with the commitment to reduce debt. It was back on the December 1st, 2020, that the company announced that they're going to be redeeming these notes because the kind of strong performance that they've shown in the first half of the financial year, and probably the business prospect that they're seeing for the second half of the financial year, and restoring some amount of lost investors' confidence into that counter again. UPL has gone ahead and taken that bet and seeing that amount of up move. But then, what are you picking up from the broader space, Niraj? Any specific trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, cement seemed to be it, isn't it? Actually did really well today. And I'm sure Nicky would probably talk about that. First, let's just look at the entire broader market breadth. Remember, the breadth was weak yesterday. And in today's session, it's a bit of a comeback from a market breadth perspective, 272 advancing to 224 declining. So a bit of a, not an exact mirror image, but yeah, a bit of a turnaround from yesterday's session. But yeah, look at that. India Cement's 20%, Star Cement 12.5%. You go down, there was Ramco and some of the others which did very well too. So that entire pocket the cement pocket had a very good move. There's some strength in sale again today. Now it's at 70. I remember in the November expiry, just 3 or 4 days before November expiry, sale was at about 40 or 42 odd rupees. From there, this one has had a meteoric rise, quite outstripping the gains from some of its other more illustrious peers. So really good going there. And EID Parry today on news went up. What didn't do well, Coromandel Internationals, because of the selling that EID Parry did, was correcting a bit in trade. And then there were a few others. Phosphorus continues to grind lower today. Stainless and JSL also corrected a bit. And some textile companies, including Welspun India, had a bit of a rough day. But Nicky, individual names, what stood out? Metal, cement, or something else?
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with Star Cement because, we've been talking enough about cement. Apart from the initiation report that has, that has come up for Star Cement or from Nirmal Bhang, of course. Niraj, I'd like to highlight the fact that it's India Cement is Rakesh Damani counter, and also Spencer, which is Rakesh Damani own counter, has seen some amount of traction in today's trade. Apart from the fact, if you remember, a few days back, there were some reports stating that, CCI has probably conducted a probe coming in for all the pan-India players. In light of that, most of the analysts said that now going forward, the price hikes wouldn't be able to come through, and this will in turn hamper the realization. But however, if the regions somehow have managed the price hikes, then the rally could follow. But then we're not sure. We've yet to see the dealers check to understand if the rally is on account of the price hike. That could be a factor that could be playing out for the rally at this point of time. But then on Star Cement, what Nirmal Bhang has to say is that the company at this point of time is pretty much well capitalized on the cash flow. Profitability coming in from the Northeast operation, that cash can be used for the expansion that is undertaking at this point of time in the eastern region. Of course, there is not that great demand supply situation playing out in the eastern region, but in the presence of larger pan India players will ensure that the pricing power remains at least economically viable for all these companies. And also the cement prices in the northeast and the east regions are not really correlated. So any drop which comes in the prices of east, given that the surplus production capacity is going to be coming up in that region, will ensure that the same run of sentiment is not there in northeast. Essentially, Star Cement at this point of time operates in northeast, and to an extent, the kind of demand situation that we're seeing for that region and the economic viability that is playing out in terms of the pricing power is mainly working in the favor of the company. Apart from that, I'd like to highlight the fact, Jindal Stainless and Jindal Stainless, these are the two stocks that we've been talking for the last 3 to 4 consecutive sessions. Of course, they've been rallying, and now there've been reports that finally the merger has come through. It's an all equity merger deal which has come in, and it was more tilted in the favor of Jindal Stainless because of the higher EBITDA margin that Jindal Stainless Hisar has right now, or probably the business is a little better for the JSHL right now. But then in the trade, Jindal Stainless actually rallied 3.5% and then again cooled off to an extent and slipped and ended the day lower with cuts of around 2 to 3% odd. So that's said and done. We're also going to be talking about AstraZeneca because it's not a news which is related to the Indian drug maker, but then the PLC, AstraZeneca PLC, of course, without the Oxford University has come up with the COVID-19 vaccine, which is now going to be, which is one in the UK clearance, and probably this marks the first approval worldwide for the vaccine. So clearly some amount of optimism on account of that for the stock as well, and we're seeing an uptick coming in to an extent of 2.5% to 3%. But then any specific trends that you're picking out, Niraj, and anything that you like to watch out for in the coming day?
Well, yeah, it's the last expiry of the for the month for the I mean, of course, for the month, yes, but also for the year, also for the decade as well. So it promises to be an interesting day tomorrow. And if indeed flows are robust, I don't think we'll do 1.5 trillion, but yeah, we are pretty close to that. However, the trade takeaways today, we already spoke about it largely. Quiet day, auto stocks, and I think auto ancillaries both ahead of the PLI scheme as well as the auto sales numbers, which wholesales are expected to be positive on the 1st of Jan, did well. Cement stocks, of course, gathered momentum. And from my conversations on WhatsApp with dealer desks, Reliance Industries and Maruti are apparently two stocks wherein there is some large buying seen at the institutional side. These are a couple of names that everybody should be watching out for as well. Will the globe be supportive for trade tomorrow, Nickey, the final day of the year?
Yeah, at this point of time, European markets, Neeraj, they've been trading positive. But then if you look at the US stock futures, they're again, it's mixed picture of sorts because US stock futures are hinting at a probable negative start coming in for Wall Street. But when it comes to news, there is optimism across with the whole level of, the Britain approval coming in for COVID-19 vaccine, which has been developed by AstraZeneca. Of course, there have been more bets of, US fiscal aid and massive vaccination efforts, which will come in for days to come by. So that's, of course, something which is really positive at this point of time and buoying the sentiment, at least for European market. But it remains to be seen how US market will fare overnight. But with this, it's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching.